Good afternoon and welcome to today's training webinar hosted by Prime Seller Leads. My name is Peter and I'll be walking you through everything you need to know for getting started with your new Prime Seller Leads website technology, software, and also your new free Prime Agent site. With the new Prime Agent site, we've recently introduced this product as an added value to all of our current agents here at Prime Seller Leads. It's a free company website that you can go ahead, use, brand with your own information, and easily access all of those settings within the back end of your Prime Seller Leads website. So a good example of that, and we will cover all of these settings at the second half of today's training webinar, is we're going to check out one of our current clients, Gary Ashton, with his Prime Agent site, GaryAshton.com. So taking a look at Gary's, and please keeping in mind that this website is 100% customizable, so you can go ahead and brand it with your information or your company's information. And on top of it, control any leads that come through the site directly in the back end of your Prime Seller Leads back end. So specifically for this, you can go ahead and turn on different news pieces that you've been featured on, news sources. On top of that, all of the media and components have been featured on any radio, podcasts, any other audio files that have your information on them. You can also link directly to your Prime Seller Leads website. So if any natural web traffic or PPC traffic is driven to your regular Prime Agent site, this component can be marketed to those visitors. They go ahead, enter their information, and then as soon as they hit search or enter, they're instantly taken to step 2 of your Prime Seller Leads website. So that's just called the Prime Seller Leads widget, which you can easily connect with your new and free Prime Agent site. On top of that, you can manage client testimonials, upload your current listing inventory of any that you received through Prime Seller Leads or any other sources out there. And on top of that, any of the links, information specifically to your different social media channels. So a lot of information that you do have available here. And what we'd like to do at Prime Seller Leads, is include this for free as an added value and bonus, as a huge thank you to all of our current agents that are signed up across North America and Australia. So right now, what we're going to get started with for all of our new agents is just taking a look at the process of how leads register, how to drive traffic to your site, and the actual report that's associated with your Prime Seller Leads website. So right now, I have our demonstration site up in front of us for Las Vegas, just lasvegassellers.com. And the first thing we're going to talk about today is just driving traffic to your website. So if you're currently signed up for our base subscription, which is just a free trial and $59.99 a month, you are responsible for driving traffic to the site. However, we have a great video advertising guide for placing your first Facebook targeted advertisements. And why we highly recommend Facebook is because on average, through the testing and data we've collected across the United States, Canada, and now Australia as well, is that Facebook has a high volume of leads at the lowest cost per lead possible. On top of that, when it comes to prospects and working these seller leads, we're not going to discuss too much about that right now, but we have a great online referral source where you can go ahead and read up on what to expect with these types of programs, is workingsellerleads.com. And so here at Prime Seller Leads, we work very closely with some of the top international real estate coaching groups, out there today in the real estate industry. Specifically, Corcoran Consulting. On top of that, Travis Robertson for Robertson International Coaching, Jared James, Mike Ferry. There's a lot of great coaches that we work with and we use as a source in order to go ahead and provide information on follow-up strategies, marketing, and the prospecting process for working with these seller leads. So overall, it talks about, partial leads, full leads, fake leads, and conversion numbers on top of the potential that could turn into you as far as commission and everything else. So a great online referral source to explain everything through it. Don't have time today to walk through everything, but please feel free to use this as a resource when getting started with our program, the workingsellerleads.com. So once you definitely can go ahead and understand those prospects, again, going back to Facebook advertising for driving traffic to your website. Again, if you're the base subscriber, you're responsible for placing and managing and updating those Facebook ads. But we do have other subscription levels as well if you'd like our team to professionally manage that process for you. So we do have an additional advertising management program for just $99 a month, where we go ahead professionally manage any Facebook or Google AdWords campaigns in order to drive traffic to your site and receive leads through our program. On top of that, you might have heard of it before. We also do have market exclusivity. Pricing is a little bit different, but there's a lot of great value that's added for market exclusive accounts. Not going to cover service overviews here for today's training webinar, but just to go ahead and point what's currently available for especially all of our newest agents that are attending today's training webinar. Now, on top of that, getting back, to the main point here, driving traffic to the website. So Facebook is the number one way to go, and we do have that great video guide. From there, you can go ahead and use Google AdWords. On top of that, Yahoo, Bing advertising, or AdRoll, which is for remarketing purposes. Other than that, we do have a lot of agents that do utilize offline marketing efforts in order to complement the current strategy that they have in place for driving traffic to their prime seller leads websites. We do see agents using direct mail campaigns. On top of that, they'll include that with geographic farming, door knocking, whatever you want to call it, in order to go ahead and just drive traffic through to their websites. They'll put the link to their prime seller leads website on their flyers, postcards, whatever it may be, direct mail pieces. And then from there, the call to action to go to the website in order to instantly get the home value. And that's really the first step, setting up the advertising or direct mail pieces or marketing pieces in order to drive traffic through to your website. So the most effective verbiage that we've really seen work in regard to that is outlined in our Facebook advertising video guide, but something along the lines letting that potential client know that, hey, here's a great website where you can instantly find the value of your home and receive a full, comprehensive, free report. So from there, say if it's a Facebook ad and they click directly on their ad, or if they enter in your Prime Seller Leads domain name, they're instantly taken to your Prime Seller Leads website. And from here, they're expecting, to get that home value. So in order to start that process, they go ahead and enter their address. Click Show Me Now or hit Enter in order to continue. And from this point forward, they are now considered a partial lead with the system. So again, just to review, partial lead is just a property address. So in order for the lead to receive their report and also become a full lead with the system, we do require their name, email address. They do have the ability to customize the property information associated with the address they submitted. And there's also a great Google overhead image view so that they can confirm that that's the correct home that they're searching for. From here, we select Generate Report. And from this point in the system, we are now considered a full lead. So again, just to review one last time here, a partial lead, just a property address, which we keep track of that information in a separate CRM in the back end for you. On top of that, a full lead is just going to be that property address, name, and at least an email address. However, even though we're a full lead, we have not received the report yet. So there's one final step, which is to go ahead and provide the phone number. And they do have options to fill out these boxes below, what they're interested in, if it's selling my home, refinancing, or just curious, plans to sell, and condition of the home. However, they can skip over that information. And from here, we just click I am ready for my home value, or the lead would click this. So from this point forward, this is the actual home market analysis report that the lead receives instantly on your Prime Seller Leads website. And in addition to this, you can turn on a feature to automatically send an email copy of the report, which you can CC yourself onto. Excuse me. So going on through this, the next part I really like to discuss is the actual automated valuation model that we use in order to go ahead and produce these instant values. So with this online home valuation system, it's just a generalized value of the home itself and also general market details associated with the property information below. So that being said, these reports are not meant to replace an actual CMA or an appraisal. And I'm just going to talk about the reasons why here, because when it comes down to it, any system out there that instantly produces home values, online, anywhere else out there, they cannot take into consideration if that person has gone ahead and remodeled their home, added any additions on, new roofing, energy efficient windows, anything that really could affect the true value of the home. But because of that discrepancy, that's the biggest leveraging tool that our agents use in order to schedule listing appointments and then get that listing later on down the road. So, letting the lead know that information is crucial, saying, hey, you know what, this information is available based on public records and public databases. So, if you'd like a more accurate representation of your home, I'm the expert in your area that can provide you a CMA or an appraisal. I'm happy to do that for free. Of course, you may find verbiage that works a lot better than what we just reviewed right here as far as a script. And we're also coming out with a script very soon here in collaboration with Corcoran Consulting in order to qualify the lead on the phone and then overcome any objections that the lead may have so that you can at least turn that into business. So definitely something to check out as well. Again, that's the actual home value that is assigned on the website itself. But on top of that, there's also a lot of great market details included with the report. And again, this information is just a general value of the home and then also general market details. So going on into the detail side of the report, we do include nearby sold comparable properties. From here, we also take a look at a market analysis based on the zip code associated with the lead's address. And so that just dives into some finer tuned points of the market itself, such as median residential home sale prices over the last 12 months, median mortgage debt in dollars, dwellings that are classified as vacant, owner occupied, and renter occupied. From there, we also break it down into annual and quarterly home sales data as well. So there's a lot of information on the report itself, but the good news is you can, in the back end system, pull up the report just in case that lead has any questions about the value they received or the actual details on the report itself. So that being said, everything that you've seen here so far as the front end of the website where the lead registers, is 100% customizable. You're easily able to go ahead, change the wallpaper photos. You can have unlimited photos in there scrolling through. On top of that, customize, each one of the steps where the lead registers in order to improve the marketing and verbiage on those steps. And also go ahead and customize the footer of the website. You can also add a header to the website if you want it to look more like a regular company website. And on top of that, a lot of great options in order to personalize, customize, and brand these websites to make it look like an extension naturally of your online business presence. Great. So moving on through this, and I do like to point out if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask me at any point. If it immediately pertains to what we're covering, I'm happy to review it right then and there. If it's not on track with what we're discussing, don't worry about it. I'll go ahead and at the end of today's training webinar, go ahead and answer any of those specific questions. So a good question immediately regarding the home value right now provided here. It looks like Gurdeep is on just asked a question, and they're just asking how well do the house values work in Canada. So right now, the Canadian markets, specifically for Canada, we don't have any data feeds available to produce it. So there's actually no valuation and no market details provided on the specific report for Canadian addresses. And so we are actively researching into solutions for that. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of great ones out there for the databases that are currently available. But what happens is we do have tons of very successful agents that use our system in the Canadian market. Their approach is going to be a little bit different for a few reasons. One of those reasons on the registration form is for any Canadian address out there that's going on one of these websites, they have to manually click a consent box in order to be compliant with the new anti-spam legislation that passed of June last year. So that's one thing that's a little bit different on the site, so that we are compliant with the anti-spam legislation laws in Canada. On top of that, what they'll say is we'll be in touch with you soon with thank you for submitting your information. A representative will be in contact with you soon to review your home valuation and market details. And from there, the agents go ahead and manually produce CMAs, contact the leads, and have just the same amount of success as United States clients have with working their leads in that same process. So a good example of that, we have an excellent customer and agent up in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Justin Haver. As of last year, Justin did right around 300 million overall in sales for home sales with him and his team, and is really one of the top producing agents for Remax in Canada and also Remax in North America. So Justin is very successful with the system. He does about 5 listings a month, and that's without having any information on the actual report or any of the market details. So really, when it comes down to it, there's really no such thing as a bad, fake, phony, a poorly qualified lead in that sense. The only way to generate poor leads online is if the advertising process is completely misleading. And a good example of that is, say, if you had an advertisement going to your seller themed website that said, "Hey, click here to instantly win, to instantly be entered to win an Xbox 360." The expectations that you're setting up in those advertisements aren't being carried through on the landing page. So that's when you'd have sort of a bad lead in that sense. But that being said, going back, getting on track with everything else, Canadians have the same success rate as agents in the United States do, with or without the actual valuation on the report itself. Excuse me. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question there. But yeah, let's go ahead and continue moving on through the rest of today's training webinar. So what we're going to do right now is log into the back end of our demonstration site for Las Vegas sellers in order to take care of some basic housekeeping. From there, take a look at the CRM for getting started, and then also review the entire Prime Agent Site system. Okay, so moving on through this, the first place to get started is just making sure we have all the correct email and notification settings set up for you so that you receive the right information right from the get-go as soon as you start advertising and receiving leads through our program. So in order to go ahead and customize this information, we just hover our cursors over settings within the top navigation menu and then select email settings. So specifically in this area, there's a few different areas for the different types of emails you can have on file and different reasons as to why we have these areas. So the first one is the administrative email, and it gets into a good conversation of the different type of accounts we have available within your backend system. So the first one we have available, and if you are just a single agent working your leads on your Prime Seller Leads backend, you are considered the administrator. So the administrator has full access to every single feature associated with the website, even controlling all of the settings and personalization information associated with the different accounts you have on file. So that's the first one, the admin. From there, you can also set up a multiple administrative account so that if you have an assistant or ISA that needs the same access as you do, you can easily create them account and control that account from your main admin account. In order to set that one up, it's a very easy step-by-step guide. You would just go to agents and then administrators, and you can easily create a new administrative account from there. Now, on top of that, we do have multiple and unlimited agent accounts with any subscription level here with your Prime Seller Lead system. So specifically for this, with the agent section, you can go ahead and add unlimited amounts of agents, and then from there have the system automatically assign leads or manually assign leads based on any number of credentials. So you can go ahead and set that up so it works, from a team perspective and an individual agent perspective, completely up to you. And then the final type of accounts that we do have here available within your backend system is for your lenders. And so if we remember back to the lead registration process on the interested in section on the form itself, what happens is any lead that states that they're interested in refinancing, you can go ahead and have that lead automatically assigned to the lender account. So from there, what happens is it'll co-assign to the lender and also the agent on file. So you can go ahead and choreograph your follow-up efforts to make sure that you're effectively reaching out to the lead and not stepping on anyone's toes with the marketing pieces they may have in place for following up with the leads as well, from the lender side or the agent side as well. So now a big thing to keep in mind too is any local, state, or federal legalities you have to follow in order to have these types of sites as a real estate agent or brokerage. And so a lot of times the information associated with the brokerage or the lender or anything else like that has to be publicly displayed on the website. So we do allow you the ability to customize that information so that you can be compliant with those guidelines. That's going to be under settings within the top navigation menu, and then agent information. And so in the agent information section, this is the information you can add that shows up on the front of your website. So if we go back to the very beginning here, you can see it's right on the footer so that you can be compliant with any, again, local, state, or federal guidelines. On top of that, you can also go ahead and customize. Once you have that, you just click save. The lender side of things. Through RESPA and everything else, lenders do have to display this information. So you can go ahead and go to settings and then lender information. And this is where you go ahead and customize to turn on that any refinancing lead goes directly to the lender. Additionally, the lender can enter their name, brokerage name, phone number, address, and in the note section enter their NMLS number in order to be compliant with any, local, state, or federal guidelines for having an advertising site that instantly produces home values from a lender perspective. So that's also another great area to take notice of if you have to be compliant with any of those guidelines whatsoever. So those are the different accounts and the different settings we have available so that you can get set up the right way based on however many team members you have on board, or if it's just yourself. The system is completely flexible in order to complement any strategy that you currently have in place for working those leads from a team perspective. So the next part, going back to what we initially discussed, was those email settings and making sure they're set up correctly. And so under admin email, that's specifically going to be the main point of contact on the account that has full administrative privileges. So if you ever have to reset your password or anything else like that, that's going to be this specific email address right in here. On top of that, the from email, this one's specifically associated with the admin account. So if the admin sends any emails through our drip campaign, autoresponders, or individually to leads, this is the email address that it'll say from on the email message to those leads when sending emails from the admin account. On top of that, the lead email is just for basic lead notifications. And in the lead email section, you can also have multiple email addresses on file. If you do want multiple email addresses, just have a comma and no spaces in between any additional emails that you add to this section. And these are going to be for general notifications whenever a new lead comes through to your website. On top of that, you can also customize and have text notifications set up whenever a lead registers on your website. Specifically for the text notifications, you need the area code plus the remaining digits of the phone number. So I'll go ahead and enter an example of that right now. And then on top of that, based on the cell phone provider or carrier, there's a specific text code for each one of those. So specifically for Verizon, that's going to be at vtxt.com. And for AT&T, that's going to be at txt.att.net. So those are the two main providers there, but you can also go ahead and easily do a Google search to find the specific text code for your cell phone provider or carrier. On top of that, the other ones are just related to the different email notifications you can receive through the system. So the first one is just auto-assign notifications. So again, the admin, if you're a single agent, you are the admin on the account there. And so this auto-assign notification just lets you know when a lead has been assigned to you. However, it doesn't have the lead's information on that email template. So that's going to be the next one below, the send sign up notification mail. And in order to turn any of these on, you either select on or yes. And what happens with this is it's good for a team scenario to leave both of these on, but if you're an individual agent, I would honestly recommend turning this off so you don't get bombarded with email notifications. Or if you're the administrator and you have an agent or assistant following up for you, I would leave that on as well. On top of this, we also have the ability to send agent auto-assign notification mail to agent. Just lets them know a lead has been assigned, but doesn't have the lead's information. And in order to have the in order to have the one that has the lead's information, that's going to be the send sign up notification mail. So if you just want one mail going out with the leads information, then I would just recommend turning these two off, and you can go ahead and do that. If you're trying to stay organized from a team perspective, I would go ahead and recommend to turn all of these on. Now, the final email notification we have available is when a lead receives their market analysis report in an email format. You can turn that on and then enter your email address so that you can be CC'd on the email copy of that report as well. But if you plan on using that specific feature to have an email copy of the report be sent out to every lead, once you save these settings, what we're going to do is go to Settings and then also go to the Step 4 Summary Mail in the Settings drop-down box. And now in this area, by turning this to yes, what we're telling the system is that when a lead registers, when they enter all their information and get the report, the system will send an email copy of the report to the lead. So that's how it's going to work with that email notification feature to be CC'd on the email reports that the leads receive through the system. So that's specifically for that one, and it's also a great thing to turn on. It's a great marketing follow-up tool to employ with the system. It provides the lead immediate value with the information, follows up with them, and then from there, if they have any questions, they have your information again right in front of them after they visited your website. Great, so after that's set up, the next thing we're going to take a look at are just the different options for assigning leads. Again, for assigning leads to lenders, that's under Settings and then Lender Information. But for everything else associated with regular agent accounts, that's going to be under Options for assigning leads. And now specifically in this section, we do have 3 different options you can take a look at. The first one is by map location, which we're not going to dive into great detail here today because honestly, 99% of agents use the round robin feature. But you can draw a map associated with the agent account, which is under Agents and then Manage Agents. And we also have a great training video on how to set this up as well. And then what that tells the system is that based on, and again, this works for team perspectives. It's not good for individual agents, really not the best feature out there for individual agents. So from a team perspective, if you draw map areas associated with each one of the agent accounts, what happens is any leads that come through the system specifically from those areas will be auto-assigned to the appropriate agent that covers that territory. On top of that, we also have an option for feeding frenzy. It just means that, again, not for individual agents. It's really meant for team perspectives. Anyone that you associate on a list here, by turning this on, and you can choose what agents you'd like to have on the list, what this says is these agents, every single one of them will be notified. Whoever accepts that lead first accepts them, and it's their lead. So it's a great way, to have quick follow-up and, get that hurriedness expectations for following up with these leads amongst your team. So that'd be an option, if you really want to follow up very quickly with these leads. And now on top of that, really the main option that the majority of our agents use is round robin for automatically assigning leads. And this works at both the individual agent perspective, the best option out there for automatically assigning leads, and then also for team perspectives. And now you may be thinking there as an individual agent, well, it's kind of silly, I have to auto-assign leads to myself when it's just me on file. But we have to set it up this way just so that our system can be flexible enough to serve teams and also individual agents. So what this does with the system when we turn it on is it says anyone on this list, the first lead gets assigned, for example, to Laura, next one to Michael, next one to Michelle, and keeps going in that order. But you can also have a daily claim limit associated with each one of these as well. So specifically in this section, in the round robin area, what that tells the system again is that when that lead comes through, it's just a lead. And so if we send any autoresponders out, it will not have your email signature on file, anything else like that. So what you'll have to do is turn this on so that all of your contact information is associated with that lead, so that if you contact them, the right information will be displayed to that lead. So in this area, in order to turn this on, we do have settings for lead rotation hours, and that's just based on the notification settings. So if you just want you and or your team to go ahead and receive notifications from 9 to 5, that's going to be 9 a.m. to 1700. It is programmed in military time. And then from there, you choose the list of agents you want to be on this list and the daily claim limit as well. If you want every agent to evenly be assigned leads, then we just turn this to 0. And that tells the system just to evenly assign leads throughout today to the following agents that are on this list. Once you're all set with customizing the options for automatically assigning leads, we just click save. And now immediately talking about, having the correct information on file for your agent or administrative account, that's going to be under the agent section, manage agents. So in this area, if it's you or your entire team, you can go ahead and select the edit email pencil in order to customize and add your email signature. And by having the option for automatically assigning leads turned on, when you get assigned to a lead and then any autoresponders or emails, drip campaigns, whatever go out, the correct information will be on file for that lead with your specific contact information or your agent's contact information. So this is where you go ahead and customize that email signature, but where you can also set up text notifications again, email notifications, and also having your own profile photo and image with the backend system. Great. So that really sums it up as far as, just the basic housekeeping for making sure that your account is set up correctly. So the next thing that we're briefly going to cover is just, some tips for staying organized with our CRM. And then we're going to dive into the bulk of the remainder of today's training webinar, which is setting up your new and free Prime Agent site. So right now, what we're going to do again is just take a look at the CRM section for staying organized. Again, that just stands for Client Relation Management. We hover our cursor over CRM and then select All Leads. And within this area, this is where you access your full lead list that you receive through PPC traffic to your website or anywhere else if you have a widget placed or, are doing any offline marketing efforts as well. So in this section, you'll see your entire lead list. And probably the first thing you'll notice is that specifically in this section, sometimes the leads have a profile photo. And so the way our system keeps track of leads is based upon their email address. So what happens with this first one with Matt here, because Matt registered on our website with this email address, our system recognized that he also registered for Facebook with that same email address. And so we can collect directly on this Facebook icon and have instant access to his personal Facebook account, not access to control it, but access to see who he is, reach out as a friend, or send a private message to on Facebook. And this is a great way to go ahead and establish contact with your leads that you can go ahead and include with your follow-up plan and strategy. So that's what we would definitely recommend. Say if you've emailed those leads, if you called them, if you've done any of the following, you can also reach out to them on any one of the social media channels. And for example, if it's Facebook, private message them. If it's LinkedIn, you can connect with them, endorse them for their skills, send them a private message as well. Twitter, you can tweet, retweet them, and then Pinterest, pin their different items, and the list goes on from there. So if you're very savvy with your social media presence right now for your business as an agent or brokerage, that's definitely a great method you can do to improve, leads and potential clients actually getting back to you through social media channels if they haven't been responding through traditional marketing efforts. So that's a great method you can go ahead and use with your current strategy. Right now, we don't have any guides or scripts specifically for that, but definitely always looking to, improve the resources we have available for your follow-up strategy and marketing here at Prime Seller Leads. So now the next area we're going to take a look at, is just accessing those reports. That's really the first place when reaching out to the lead, say if it's a phone call follow-up, just to make sure that we have the right report and everything else on file. So here's a test one that we submitted the other day. And in order to access, specific tools for staying organized and that report, we just click directly on the lead's name. Again, to review, we're in CRM, all leads, and then we clicked right on the lead's name, which takes us to the entire summary of the information we have on file for that lead. And so if there is a link here that says Market Analysis Report, that's green right here, then the lead received the report on the website, although sometimes they don't remember it. So you can go ahead and click right on that link, and it pulls up the exact report that the lead received on the front of the website. So that way, if they have any questions about the report, didn't state that they didn't receive it or anything else, you can print that report, download it as a PDF, and then send it back to the lead as well. In addition to this, we have some great other tools for staying organized. Each one of these, by clicking on these areas, it's a comprehensive guide to get them set up. So you can also add internal reminders to let you know when it comes time to complete an important task while working with a lead. On top of that, add notes so you can have full account history for the conversations, if it's phone or email, that you had with your lead. On top of that, you can also log your phone calls and schedule phone calls in order to keep full account history of the entire call list that you've had with a specific lead. So a lot of great tools to help stay organized. But for right now, we're just going to click back to leads. And in this area, we have two other great sections for staying organized, which is the lead category section and then also the actions column. So within the lead category section, these are just a great way to stay organized with your leads. So you can go ahead and completely customize the category and actions column within the CRM section and then under miscellaneous. By clicking on either one of these areas for lead category or actions, you can easily customize the options you have available in the actions column or lead category column of your CRM. So we highly recommend staying organized with the category section because you can utilize our search leads function by going to CRM search leads. You can easily search for a lead based on any number of credentials, their name, whatever it may be, so you can instantly pull up the lead that you immediately want to work with in case you're trying to update notes, log phone calls, check off anything that you've completed for the lead. Or you can also search by lead category. So what happens is, say if we want to just find a specific list of leads that are selling in less than 30 days and were from last month, we can go ahead and customize that search request, and from there click search to instantly get a list of the leads that meet those search credentials. So for us, of course, it didn't show up in there. This is just our test and demonstration account. But if you do actively stay organized with those categories, and if you customize them within the miscellaneous section, you can instantly get a list of leads that you immediately want to work with right then and there, instead of diving through, pages and pages and pages of leads. Just because as lead volume increases, it definitely becomes exponentially more important to stay organized with your back-end system. So other than that, that's specifically the lead category section. We're just going to go back to the all leads section to see the last tool available for staying organized, which is going to be the actions column. And so within this action column, which is again is completely customized in the CRM miscellaneous action section, you can upload the immediate protocol strategy you follow. If you don't have one set in stone, we highly recommend that you create one today. From the numbers that we've run and all the data that we've shared with going back and forth between Corcoran Consulting, Travis Robertson, Jared James, and that list of coaches and coaching firms that we work with, 85% of the sales happen between the fifth and eighth contact with a lead. So if they say no once, that's not good enough in order to have success with sales and online seller lead generation and working those leads. So creating a comprehensive plan for working those leads is crucial because, again, as that lead volume increases, it only helps to stay organized with the follow-up efforts you've already carried out with the specific leads currently in your system. So, that's just a matter of how many phone calls, if it's 3 to 5 phone calls, 3 to 5 emails, you've done some geographic farming, you door knocked on their home and hand delivered a CMA, you sent a video email, applied them to a drip campaign, really any way possible to get in front of that lead and earn their business in that sense. So the good part about this is it's just a checklist. So as you complete each one of these tasks for the lead, you can check them off and it crosses off that task and timestamps it within the actions list. So that being said, there's an individual action section for each one of your leads so that you can stay organized with the follow-up efforts you've already taken care of with that individual lead. And again, with the lead category section and action section as well, that's completely customizable within the CRM miscellaneous section. So a lot of information, that we got to cover here. There's a lot still to digest, but really the biggest thing to help you with this process, submit a test lead. Go to the front of your website, submit a test lead, and play around with the different options you have available. Because, if it's just your information, you don't have a fear of potentially, messing with something with the system. Really not anything you could do to break the system here. But That's what I would recommend for getting started. And then as that leads start coming through your own advertising efforts, or if we're professionally managing that for you, you'll be ready to go ahead and start working those and have a great plan in place, so that you don't have 500 leads and then don't have any idea what to do with them or what step you're on for each one of those. Now, moving on to the last part of today's training webinar, which we're going to cover in the last few minutes here, is just setting up your free and prime agent site. So with your Prime Agent site, what we've done here at Prime Seller Leads is include this brand new company website that you can use and manage right from one back-end system. So very easy and friendly to use. And again, it's 100% customizable. It's a great way to go ahead and brand your own personal image, brand yourself as an agent, or brand your company with as its own company website. You can have as many tabs as you want, and it's just a matter of adding that information specifically to your website, and we're happy to assist you every step of the way. So the very first step for getting started with your brand new Prime Agent sites through Prime Seller Leads is by hovering your cursor over PAS, which does stand for Prime Agent Sites, and then selecting Enable Prime Agent Sites. So specifically in this section, you'll want to turn this on to yes, and you can set up your Prime Agent sites one of two ways. You can set it up as a subdomain that's immediately connected to your Seller Leads website. So our Seller Leads website is lasvegassellers.com. And so the subdomain that it's set up through is ourcompany.lasvegassellers.com. So if that's the case, what we can do to check on the front end of the website is do ourcompany.lasvegassellers.com, and that's the specific destination subdomain that people will go to when finding your website. So if you want something a little bit more catchy as far as its own unique domain name with the system, is you can go ahead, easily purchase a brand new domain that well represents, yourself, your brand, or your company. And from there, what you'll have to do is point that domain's DNS to our name server. So exactly how you set up your Prime Seller Leads website is the same process to set up your Prime Agent site website. But once you point those name servers, or if you have questions about that, please use our customer support team as a resource. We're happy to help you every step of the way to help get this set up for you. So we can help you point that domain's DNS to your name servers. All you have to do then is just add the domain and click save. From there, it should take anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes for that website to instantly have access and be accessible to visitors online. So those are the two methods. Once you're all set with those, though, if you're going through a subdomain or if you're going through a regular domain that you pointed your domain's DNS to our name servers for, all you do is click the green Save button, and then you're ready to start customizing your free Prime Agent site automatically through the back end of Prime Seller Leads. So instead of having two back end systems, one for Prime Seller Leads, one for Prime Agent site, we easily connected that so you can manage everything from one area without having to remember or log back in and out. Now, we're not going to dive into, every single tiny feature associated with it. We'll cover it in depth this Thursday as far as every tiny feature on top of the landing pages, which we'll briefly take a look at here today before the end of the webinar. But let's just go ahead and take a look at, setting your page content and customizing that information. So under property settings, we just select set page content. And this is where we go ahead and customize the look and feel of the front end of your Prime Agent site. So if you're used to customizing your Prime Seller Leads website, this is a very easy transition to customize this as well. The only thing to keep in mind is these background banner photos, such as your image and this house photo back here. It's customizable in a different area, and we'll point that out in a little bit. So what we can do in this section is completely customize any of this wording. Excuse me, we can go ahead and completely remove the as seen on section. It'll appear kind of transparent, but on the front of the website, it will not appear at all. On top of that, anywhere you see text, you can go ahead and click and customize that information or that edit pencil. It'll take you to a new tab for the navigation menus. Say if with that navigation menu right here, you want to update the order or the wording or anything else, by clicking on that edit pencil, it takes us to this area in a very easy and friendly to use drop and drag editor. So you can go ahead and customize how that information appears on your Prime Agent site website. On top of that, if you want to change what the wording says, you just click the edit pencil and you can easily change that wording as well. Okay, moving on through this, we do have the ability, say if you accidentally deleted something, you can click that green plus icon anywhere to turn it back on. In addition to this, anywhere where there's text and you see that little outline text box, you can click on it, change any of that text whatsoever with the font color, the background color, the font size, the font style even. And we're not going to upload any more different fonts to this section just because these are the 11 pre-approved fonts that Google recognizes within search results. So that's why we have those options there. On top of that, you can choose the option to make it normal or bold font, and then just click Save in order to customize that information. On top of this would be for right now, we can integrate with a local MLS feed and have it in an IDX system, only if it's integrated right now with your REW website. So that's Real Estate Webmasters. So if you currently have that feed going, then we can easily integrate with that. But right now, as far as integrating with Prime Buyer site or anything else, and you don't have that, I would just click that X to turn it off because people can't search for homes that way. From here, moving on through, you can also, edit any of the text. Again, all the media, the site is able to be edited in a different area. And then also you can have the featured properties of your current listing inventory. So another big feature to have, it's a great thing to bring on, your next listing appointment. Say here or before your appointment, check out my website. This is where you'll be promoted. And sometimes that may be a great tool to leverage with a potential client to get that listing appointment because they see part of your marketing strategy that you'll employ when trying to sell their home as well. Now, on top of that, moving on through this, you can customize any bit of it where it has that information and also your Prime Seller Leads widget, which is right here. Again, it looks kind of funky. It's just in the editor mode. That's not how it appears on your website. Point click and you can change that information as well as your social media links and also your company logos. You can point click change, choose the file, and instantly upload it to your Prime Agent site website. So a lot of information you're able to update as far as the front of the website, and it can seem like a huge, task to go ahead and take on. But I promise, it's once you get that done, it's a very sleek, crisp design that you can easily control within one backend system automatically connected to your Prime Seller Leads backend. So real quick, we're just going to select back to admin and just point out some of these few features before we open it up for any questions about today's training webinar here. And so in PAS, this is where that's where we're talking about the media. So any testimonials, audio files, videos, it's that same drag and drop editor. You can delete it, upload some, very easy and friendly to use. On top of that, the custom property settings. So right where to go there, PS, and then custom property settings is where you can go ahead and upload your current listing inventory. If not, if you don't have any in your inventory right now, you can completely remove any of that section from showing up on your Prime Agent site website. And then from here, on top of this is where you add that custom banner photo where that house was and banner settings as far as your agent image being uploaded to that section. So a lot of information here. Any additional stuff is located on the header and footer settings for navigation. So each one's pretty easy to walk through. The content as far as editing it is in a few different areas. But just with some practice and playing around with the system, you can easily figure it out, or you can feel free to use our customer support team as a resource to go ahead and help you with getting this process set up for you. So it looks like we have our first first question coming in right now. A great question from Brandon, but I'd also like to open it up for any other questions that you had about today's training webinar. So if it's something we covered or didn't cover, feel free to ask away. I'm just going to review everything real quick here, and then I'm going to get to Brandon's question. So right now, what we did get to cover here today, was just options for driving traffic to your Prime Seller Leads website, if that's what your subscription level is set up for. On top of that, definitely good to read about, the whole prospecting process, what to expect with seller lead generation, and what sort of work we'll have to put into it to get the best ROI possible. So from here, we have a great resource online that was created by our CEO, Josh, and also a lot of other major sources contributed to this. From here, it talks about workingsellerleads.com, that entire process, the difference between partial, full leads, some strategies for that, conversion numbers, potential commission off of those numbers, and then also, processes for working it as well. So feel free to use that as a resource for getting started and understanding it, especially if you're new to the online seller lead generation or lead generation game in general. From here, on top of that, we also got to take a look at the front of your website, how a lead registers, how to drive traffic to the website, the report, hopped in, to the back end settings, took a look at the CRM, and finished up everything today with how to customize your Prime Agent site. So yeah, any questions about that, feel free to ask away right now. Right now, it looks like Brandon has his question coming in here. Can we review how to edit the PSL widget? I'm having trouble with that. Okay, great. Yeah, so let's hop into that right now. So the first thing to identify there, Brandon, is if you're adding it to your Prime Agent site or if you're adding it to another company website, just to identify the exact dimension size that's allowed for your widget. And then from there, you can easily customize that. And the dimensions that you want to look for is specifically going to be for, pixel size or percentage of the page overall. So getting started with that, we go to marketing within the top navigation menu. And from there, we go to generate widget. And this is where you can go ahead and easily add a widget right in this section. So in this area, when you're adding a widget, that's why you'll have to have those dimension size already, set in stone there. So that's where you do the custom height and width. Select those custom height width, and it's going to pull the immediate theme associated with your current settings of your Prime Seller Leads front end system. So the front of the website, whatever theme's on the front of the website is going to show up right here. You can choose between, different ones as well as an option, but that's going to be the one that pre-populates. So this is where you go ahead and enter the custom, pixel and percentage of page size as well. And then from there, you're going to put in the widget website address, like what website it's going to, and the name is for yourself, for your own internal organizational purposes. Once you're all set with that, you click save, and that's going to take you back to the page that we were just on, and it'll have that accessible from this list. Now, as far as customizing this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but what you can do is just select customize this theme, and it takes you to a live editor that looks very similar. Actually, right now, it's because I have so many other things open. One second, let me just close out of some of this stuff and refresh my page. So customize this theme. Let's take a look at that. Okay, one second here. So this is our demonstration site now. So every now and then what happens, it's slightly buggy because we're always coming out with new features. But to show you what that screen will look like, it looks very similar to the set page content section of your Prime Seller Leads website. For some reason, it keeps getting connected to the subdomain one. So what happens, though, is in that live editor, it's the same thing. You point, click, change, make any of those settings. But the biggest thing for having success with it, Brandon, is anytime you change the theme and then upload the code to your website, you'll have to generate a new widget code every single time because it updates the code as well. So what you'll do in this section, say if you customize it and you want to see how it looks on your website, you generate the widget code, copy and paste it, to the appropriate section of your other website. And then from there, if it doesn't appear right, that's when you go ahead, customize it again in this section, and then generate that new widget code. So you might have already been going through that process. And if you're experiencing, any difficulties with that, Brandon, please feel free to reach out to us at customer support and we can have a tech review that with you to make sure that it's set up correctly. Okay. Okay, so Catherine here was asking a good question. I have a website with my name on it. Can I use the IDX on that website to the agent site? It has an IDX system. Okay, so right now, Catherine, with the Prime agent sites, we're only able to integrate the IDX from your local MLS feed if it's set up through REW right now. So if it's a REW site, we can do it. We are working on a feature, to incorporate, Prime buyer leads and other systems like that, but right now it doesn't incorporate that with it. So you can use it in a different, marketing effort. If that regular system with the IDX, everything else, is where you're getting all your buyer traffic through, then I would use your free Prime agent site, as your own, company, your own online billboard. Show this to potential clients that are ready to list their home. It could be a great place to show like the marketing plan you put in place for working with this. So it doesn't have to be a clear-cut company website. It's 100% customizable. So wherever you see a way to best complement any of your current websites or any of your marketing or business strategies, then I would recommend to create a website for that. And if you wanted ever some great suggestions and you wanted to call in and just review that, you can definitely let us know, and we'd be happy to review some alternative options that you could use your Prime Agent site with as well. But right now, it doesn't have its own sort of IDX system. That's what Prime Buyer Leads is for. So right now, we did launch Prime Buyer Leads, which is a very inexpensive option to a regular IDX system. And so we do offer that for $129 a month, and we don't charge a penny of it until the website is up and live and going. So any agent out there that's listening right now, typically typically buyer themed sites that go ahead and integrate with your local MLS board and IDX system and everything else like that. Typically start from $1,000 to $1,500 a month, and I know REW specifically charges right around $10,000 a month. Those aren't quotes, that's just the averages that are going out there. Um, so definitely something to keep in mind, because ours is literally a fraction of the cost. It's just $129 a month. And then if you wanted professional management of your online campaigns for that, that's just an additional $299 a month for a team to professionally manage those advertising campaigns as well. So any agent out there that wants any information on our Buyer Leads platform, if it's just an email or a phone call or whatever else, just let us know, and we're happy to look into that for you. Okay. Okay, great. So Miles here was just asking about scripts and everything else. So what I'll do here, Miles, is I'll generate a report to get everyone's email address from today's training webinar. I'll go ahead and send scripts out there to everybody just in case they want to take a look at it. So before the end of the day today, I'll go ahead and send those scripts so you can have that information readily available. Okay, another question from Catherine. Good question, Catherine. She just asked if we help set up the agent site. So we're happy, to get started with enabling the site, if it's connecting your domains, DNS, whatever else. As far as we can definitely answer your questions, customer support, whatever else, point you in the right direction. But right now, we're not going to customize anything for you in that sense. Like any, base trials, anything else like that, we can point you in the right direction, and we have great video training guides to help. But we only customize anything with any of your accounts if you're an exclusive subscriber here at Prime Seller Leads. So exclusive subscribers, that was where we go ahead and take care of everything. But we also want to make sure that we can at least point you in the right direction. So if you called in today, Catherine, we're happy to get the setup process started and answer questions and how to, point you in the right direction, or refer you to some great video guides to get that process set up. But yes, we're happy to help with that process, just not any personal customization ourselves. That's at the exclusive level with our program here. Great. So that really sums it up for today's training webinar. I really want to thank everyone for coming out and training with us here at Prime Seller Leads, and especially on your new and free Prime Agent site. We do host these training webinars every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please stay tuned for next Thursdays. We're actually going to be covering the landing page option. You can actually create unlimited landing pages with your Prime Seller Leads backend. So those are going to be for different niche marketing efforts, going to cover a lot of that information, and then also have a fair chance to review all the nitty-gritty details of your Prime Agent site. So if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that yet, it's an awesome new feature that we just launched about almost a week and a half ago now. So yeah, please stay tuned this Thursday. You can register for that webinar right now at pslwebinar.com. And at pslwebinar.com, you can go ahead, register for this Thursdays or any of our up and coming webinars. So we do host these twice a week. Every Tuesdays is back to the basics like we did today for our newest agents, and also reviewed a little bit of new stuff with the Prime Agent sites. And then on top of that, Thursdays is always something new. So since we have a new product launch for Prime Agent sites, and also unlimited landing pages with your backend system, we're going to be covering that this Thursday. So stay tuned for that. We'll announce it in the group. We'll announce it to everyone. And feel free to go ahead and register for that one right now. So yeah, we thank everyone for coming out and attending here today's training webinar. If you have any questions after this, we have one of the best customer support teams in the industry here. You can reach us by live chat, which is built right into the back end of your website. From there, you can, go ahead, message us on our Facebook work accounts, email us, or feel free to call us toll free at 888-485-4234. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. And any questions after this, feel free to reach out to us at customer support.